Alright folks, we're back. It's been a long time, but we are finally back. A lot of you know I am active duty Coast Guard. That is a real cover. That's what we actually wear. Well, those of us who are non-raids wear these. The petty officers have chevrons. Don't worry, I'll get those soon. I did recently get promoted, for anybody who gives a shit. I was a seaman apprentice, then I switched directions, and now I got bumped up and I'm a fireman apprentice, so I still have to wear the same pin on my hat. But I technically make a few dollars more a month. And when I say a few dollars more, I mean literally, it's not much. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about Spyderco. Specifically my Spydercos. The order in which I bought them, why I bought them, and which ones are my favorite, which ones I recommend you buy. So I'm going to go in order that I bought them in. Really quickly, just going to run through it. Number one, the Tenacious. Bought this knife trying to get my dick wet with the Spydercos, and it worked. I kind of actually snuck it. I bought it at Walmart. My wife, who was my fiance at the time, was not happy because she thought I was spending too much money on knives. She was right, but we're not going to talk about that. Yeah, I love this knife, especially compared to what I had at the time. What I had at the time was a lot of CRKTs, and, well, I still have everything I had at the time, but all I had access to at the time was CRKTs and stuff like that. So I was used to having to sharpen my knife all the time, and I didn't really care that much. So this blade steel didn't bother me like it does now a lot. I hate 8CR13 NOV with a burning passion. I hate that this knife is made in China. I don't not buy knives from China. Like, I like quality knives from China, but I prefer it when a company, especially a company like Spyderco, I prefer them to not make them in China. But if they do, it actually turned out to be a great knife anyways. It's one of the best quality Chinese knives you can get. And for the materials and the price, it's really good. Liner lock, nice, thick liners. That's one thing I will say about this. I've not tested the liner, but it seems to be a pretty sturdy liner. The liners are thick, lockup's quick and about middle of the bar. It's really good for a liner lock. Pretty much useless lanyard hole. 4-way pocket clip. I like the pocket clip tipped up for a righty, but yeah. So there it is. This knife is pretty much only in my collection because of the position in my collection it holds. I would have gotten rid of this a long time ago. Not because I hate it or anything. I just never use it, and I would give it to somebody. I would gift it out. Like, if someone was like, I don't understand why you buy Spydercos, I would have been like, figure it out. You know, here you go. Learn like I did. It's really amazing. Oops, shit. They're really quite remarkable knives, and they're awesome, and I just love them. So that was the first one I bought. And then I wanted to get, you know, just go get some deeper into the Spyderco chasm, so I got this guy. Boom. Oh yes. This is my Manix 2. This is my favorite knife ever. I love this knife more than any other knife. And if you want to know why, if you follow Gideon's Tactical at all, he could not have said it better. If you're looking for a knife to do everything well, instead of one thing exceptionally and everything else kind of okay, but everything to a degree that I would consider well, this is your knife. This is a quality piece of work to do quality work. Pocket clip, tip up only, 2 reversible. These liners, I don't think, no, they're not quite as thick as these liners, which is okay because they're not a liner lock mechanism. So it doesn't matter so much, but I would prefer them to be thicker, but it would make this knife way heavier than it is. Yeah, so this knife, like, whatever I was feeling towards Spyderco cascaded over the edge with this knife. This knife was fast. It was fun to play with because it had this unique lock mechanism. Had a great handle. The edge was beautiful. I didn't know what the edge retention was at the time because I would never, ever, ever end up cutting anything with this. I used to carry 2 knives, and I still carry 2 knives. But I used to say that this was my tactical defensive knife, which is a fair statement to make, and that this was my actual using knife, and I would cut stuff with this, and this is what I would use to cut things in open packages and whatnot, which was, it was fine, you know. For the most part, this did okay. Doesn't hold an edge for shit if you're cutting wood or anything like that, but just cutting paper and stuff does okay. So that's why I got this one. I mean, I got this one, and that's what I was doing. Then I wanted more. So oops. Melody. Sorry about that. That's my dog. She thinks everyone is a terrorist. Mel. Let me see if I... Yeah. So, I got the atypical Spyderco. The Spyderco everybody knows, everybody loves, everybody talks about it. Oops. It's the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Yeah. Everybody loves the Paramilitary 2. And so do I. Yeah. I don't dislike it at all. I freaking love it, actually. It is, in my opinion... One second. Melody! Sorry about that. It is, in my opinion, one of the ugliest Spyderco knives that you can buy. But I stopped caring about that a long time ago. Actually, it's not that ugly. The handle's kind of blah. The blade is beautiful. It's just, it's spooky fast. Like, it's probably the fastest knife. Like, I'd be hard pressed to say that you could find an auto that could open faster than I can open this thing. Like, it's crazy fast. And I'm sure people can do it faster than me. And it closes really easily too. I have not a hard time, but yeah, that is a rare occurrence. Like, to actually, it's not that rare, but it's not the easiest. I have a much easier time with my Manix 2, which is funny because a lot of people complain that the Manix 2 is got a detent issue or a unique thing there. I think I think this one is by far the fastest knife, and I like the ergonomics, I like the blade shape, I like its sharpness. I heard a knife guy say a word that I absolutely love, and it is now the word that I use. I use it to describe the ability for penetration. It's the stabby factor. How well does it stab? It looks very stabby, doesn't it? Can't remember who said that. It was a long time ago. I know that they were talking about an Obaki by CRKT and Joseph Burnley, but oh yeah, didn't know that, did you? I'm a total knife nerd. I know all this shit. But they said it was a very stabby looking knife, and I couldn't have been more interested in that phrasing. But yes, it's very stabby. It has great penetration. Before my wife continued to yell at me so much, I used to do what I call the toilet paper test, which is where you take a fresh roll of toilet paper, you set it down, and you stab your knife into it with significant force, and however far into the toilet paper this would penetrate, and you'd be surprised, a lot of knives, it's not very far. Sorry, it's early morning. Would determine how good the knife, how stabby the knife was, and this knife damn near went through the whole fucking thing. It was impressive, which is something that, like, this knife did not do. This knife went about there, which isn't bad, but it makes sense. This blade goes, wow, it gets way bigger, way faster, whereas this one, it stays narrow longer, and it has this really great belly on it, where it comes back into itself. Now, that being said, like I said, this is much better at being a tactical knife than this one, especially because it has this bigger, more neutral handle. It's easier to work around. You can grab it pretty much anywhere in a pinch, and it's pretty, it's pretty decent. It's feeling still. You got that nice, taller, like this, this is taller than this. So you got more thumb protection if you want to stab something, But this knife, in turn, is not quite so good of an EDC knife. Why do I say that? It just isn't. I don't know why, it just, something about it. A lot of people, and it's not a bad EDC knife, I just think it's not as good as this one. This one just has this much more user-friendly ergonomic feel. And the choke-up's better, in my opinion. And it's got this nice, wide, swoopy blade. You can use it for, for kitchen stuff. You can use it for carving and, precision work. Whereas this one, it wouldn't do bad at any of those things, but kitchen stuff, it's got this nice little horn down here. You don't have quite as much blade. Carving, you could get some pretty decent precision out of it, but I don't know. And it's not going to take the abuse like this one is. Holy shit. Off track. Well, anyways, continuing with story time. I got this one because I wanted the atypical, Spyderco. Hoo. The big man. The Paramilitary 2. And I love it. This is the knife I carry to be my defensive backup knife. And I carry a different one as my primary cutting knife, which is not this one, this specific one. You guys know what it is if you watch my videos, but all three of them. This one being number 3. Oh, that was my neck. I just cracked my neck. It was. I tried to sharpen this on what I considered to be the sharpening system of choice at the time, which it was not. And that was a pull-through sharpener and a steel and a little Camillus thing that I don't even have anymore. Or if I do, it's in a bag from my old work. But anyways, that was what I was sharpening things with, and it did not effing work on this. This thing would not sharpen on it. If anything, it ruined the edge a little bit. And I was nearly to the point of tears, thinking I just paid $150+ on a knife and I'd ruin the edge and couldn't use it. It made me want to throw the knife away and throw myself off a building. I'm kidding, obviously. I was 16. It was pretty traumatizing. I work hard for my money. Okay, I was probably 19, but shut up. So I got that, and then I determined the only way to sharpen Spyderco was with another Spyderco. So I bought the Spyderco Sharp Maker, and dear God, I can't recommend this thing enough. It's amazing. It's got to be the best damn sharpener I've ever used. It sharpens everything. I sharpen all my knives on it. And I actually bought the diamond bit. I should have brought those out here. Sorry guys, don't get to see them today. But I bought the diamond bit triangle stones. These need to be washed. That's something I need to do today. But yeah. And I repurposed the edge, reprofiled the edge on a lot of my knives. I've done quite a bit of work on some of these Spyderco knives, and I'll get into that in a minute. Spyderco's not perfect, guys. But I've tried to get all my knives up to a fashion where they can be sharpened on this thing, and it's been working. This turned out amazing afterwards. I was able to get this to a perfectly hair-popping edge. I don't know if you guys can see that. No, you can't see that. Okay. Well, I have another way to show you. There you go. See? Really sharp. Now that's another reason I'm not like doing unboxing videos here. I'm not like, oh, this came so sharp from the factory. Watch it cut paper. No. This is, if I'm gonna cut paper with these, I'm just gonna be showcasing my ability to sharpen something with this sharp maker, which is actually pretty good. So, I mean, I should be showcasing that, but if anything, just to get you to buy a sharp maker, because sharp makers are freaking awesome. On that note, I can actually do that and my next knife at the same time, because this is the next knife I bought. Yep, you guys all know it. You have seen me in my older videos with this. This is my Manix 2 satin finish. Why did I get a satin finish? Like I said, most of you know this already, but anyone new doesn't know this. Because I have some sort of stigmatism against using knives with a black finish. I think the black finish is so beautiful, and I refuse to cut something with it. If it's not paper or very thin like plastic, pretty much just chip bags, I won't cut it. I refuse to cut it. I can't make myself do it. I've tried. I've literally tried. I once picked up a stick and tried to whittle it with this thing and pretty much ran inside the house and cleaned it off immediately. And then chastised. I'm kidding. But I just can't do it. I don't know why. The only thing I could ever use these for is, self-defense, because that's when your shit's on the line. Or if I was on a combat unit, which one day, hopefully. It's difficult to do in the Coast Guard, but it can be done, and I will hopefully end up doing it. Then I would carry one of these in the black finish. Hopefully not one that I paid for, but, you know. So anyways, I got this one, and this is the knife that basically replaced this knife, the Tenacious. I cut all my stuff with this knife. I carry this knife to use it. This knife is cut wood, it's feather sticked, it's cut a shitload of paper. I carried this for my first couple of months on the job at the Coast Guard unit because they hadn't issued me a knife yet. Because I work at the most broke dick unit in the entire Coast Guard and we have no money. My issued knife is actually hand-me-down from somebody who's leaving the unit. But anyways, long story short, they hadn't issued me a knife yet. So I was carrying this, and it performed well there too. It cut rope, it cut packaging, it opened boxes. It opens a lot of boxes, it cuts a lot of packages. It's just a beautiful knife. Yeah, not a whole lot to say about this one, but other than, yeah, like I said, because this is my user knife, this is naturally the knife that gets sharpened the most on the Sharp Maker, and I am sort of now, anyone who cuts paper knows that if the paper's not facing in the right direction, it doesn't cut. Let's see if notice the knife didn't move. The knife is not moving. I am just pulling on the paper. Oops. It happens. It happens, folks. Anyway, here we go. The wind took it. I know what you're thinking. Wind and blow. Shut up, asshole. But it's true. No, it's not. Nothing happened. So, yeah. Oh, now I got a mess. Anyways. Yeah. So that's what the Sharp Maker can do. And I don't even sharpen this to, like, the most perfect edge I could possibly get it to, because this thing, you can get them to like a razor sharp edge. Like, I don't even do that. The reason I don't do that is because I use this knife all the time. I don't need a perfectly baby fine edge that's just going to ultimately dull a knife faster, because I use it for real cutting, not just baby cutting. So I put a midpoint edge that still enables the knife to keep its, you know, its geometry advantage, to keep the edge nice and you know. I don't do a reverse drop, because anyone who knows about like knife sharpening knows that when you do a strop in the reverse direction, you're dragging the tiny little fiber hair edge steel to the edge of the blade to create this little like burr along the edge, and that will cut the hair off of something like absolutely beautifully, amazingly. But the second you cut into something else, that thing breaks off, rolls away, and you're left with the not so sharp underside of that edge. So I like to go exclusively downward sharpening technique. And that's what I call a utility edge, an edge you can actually cut stuff with. And then when you're done with it, you can still cut a piece of paper. And yeah, it's pretty damn smooth. And the blade play is non-existent. So, got that knife. After that, I got weird, you know? I determined I needed to have a tactical, diving, super advanced special forces knife. Kidding. Ta-da! I got the Spyderco Aqua Salt. Ha ha ha. I knew I'd remember it. Pop. Oh yeah. This is gotta be my favorite knife to hate. And what I mean by that is, I love this knife. I think it's a beautiful knife. I think it's got this great ergonomic handle. Utility based, definitely good for like water working blade. And I think it has probably the worst steel on the planet for a fixed blade knife. Let me clarify that. For a fixed blade knife. Because this steel is impossible to keep sharp. Literally impossible. And I don't know what it is. And I'll jump ahead, because I know this was the second knife I bought. The next knife in line was the Spyderco Street Bowie. I don't know what it is about Spyderco sheaths. I like them, but they frickin' dull the knives. I swear to God, if they're not dulling the knives, I'm losing my mind, because this knife, I can get it hair-popping, blistering sharp. All I have to do is put it in the sheath and let it sit on my shelf. The next time I pull it out, it doesn't cut dick. Honestly, it's mind-boggling, but I feel like the same thing happens with this one. It loses its edge just because I put it back in the sheath. And for me, that kind of sucks. Like, I love my Spyderco knives. I love these fixed blades, but I have had a bad experience with the fixed blades. They just don't want to hold an edge for me, and I can't figure out why. I legitimately can't figure it out. Mind-boggling. Like, I like that these are injection molded sheaths and not Kydex, because they look more professional. But I almost wish they were Kydex at this point, or Teflon, or whatever the better version of Kydex is. Because I've had Kydex sheaths on other knives, and they don't fuck with the edge at all. Ever. They don't. These ones, I feel like they do. I feel like they do, and I don't know why. I mean, if you think about it, look at this. It's so squared off. Like, yeah, I wish it was Kydex. I'm not gonna lie. Honestly, I bought these ones over other Spyderco knives because the sheaths looked more professional, but I wish they were Kydex. Same with this one. I bought this one because I wanted a tactical fixed blade. And boy did I get it. I mean, this is, design-wise, this has got to be one of the nicest knives, fixed blade knives I've owned. Because, no, bear in mind, design-wise, because it's got this nice, you get the ability to retain your knife like you had a giant, finger guard, without losing the sleek lines and you know, compactness of this. You don't have a big horn sticking out here, ready to catch on something. In fact, I feel like it would almost, not quite, it would catch stuff, but it wouldn't catch as much as if it was like a big curved horn. But it locks your finger in regardless. So you got that. You got this nice little bulge right here in the middle of the handle. And another one at the end. The handle's just perfectly designed to be used for combat, especially if you put your thumb on the back of the blade. If you don't have a thrusting post, I mean you do if you choke up like this, if you know, then you have the jimping and you can do your thrusting, but yeah, I can't get it to get sharp. I've tried so many times. It really makes me sad. Very sad. But yeah. Anyways, that is the fixed blade. Oh shit. Like I said, bad experience with these knives. Not horrible. I mean, I love the knives. I'm glad I bought them. So, I mean, I'm glad I bought them. Did I really have a bad experience? I get you guys could be the judge of that. So, shit. So much clutter. More coffee. Sorry guys, got the phone all rigged up here. I will show you guys how I have this phone rigged up, so you can all laugh at me when I'm done. I'm not gonna do it now. When I'm done, you can laugh. But anyways, next knife I bought was, yeah. Now, going back to what I said before, H1 is a horrible steel for a fixed blade, but it's an amazing steel for certain folders. Ha ha ha. It's still a horrible steel for most folders. Let me get this straight. First of all, I love H1 steel because I have had this in chlorine water, salt water, fresh water, river water, lake water, sink water, cutting up tomatoes, rinsed off, open packages, stuffed in boxes. Most everything you can do with this, I've done it, and it still hasn't rusted one single time. Ever. It's kind of scratched to shit because it's probably the weakest steel on the planet, but it is completely 100% rust proof. And if you don't want to take my word for it, just go over to Blade HQ and watch their video. They freaking left it in the Great Salt Lake for a week. No rust. So, yeah. This is the perfect, and in my opinion, the only knife that this steel should be on. For everything else, LC200N. That's the blade steel that should have gone on this knife. That should go on the Aqua Salt, the Pacific Salt. Blame my last. This is an Aqua Salt, the Pacific Salt, which I don't own one of. Haven't used one. Actually, that's not true. Someone at my work has one. The original Pacific Salt, not the Pacific Salt 2. That looks like a Delica, or an Endura rather. And it sucks. Same reason that all the H1 steel knives suck. Because they're not capable of performing as a knife. This one is, because it is so tiny that the only thing you're going to use it for is tiny knife task. And tiny knife tasks don't require your knife to... Oh, this isn't very sharp. Hang on. Oh, it's your lucky day, guys. You're gonna get to watch me sharpen something. So much clutter. They don't require a knife to be able to hold an edge forever, because there's stuff like this. There's stuff like cutting paper. Yeah, notice the difference? That's all I did. I could have gone deeper. And this is the second stage. These soft steels, all you really need is the second stage, the finer sharpening. Steel's so soft, you pretty much don't even need to put the heftier bits, that's those brown ones in the back. You don't even have to put those in. Might have made a mistake. Sorry guys, I know I'm all over the place right now, but I have a problem with dull knives. If your knife's going to be dull, why do you even have it? Keeps getting caught on something. Hang on. Oh, you know what it is? I'm gonna need these ones. I cut some cheese with this thing the other day, and when I was cutting the cheese, I was cutting it into a plate, and it was going through and dropping and smacking the plate, and that's why it's not cooperating. Okay. Positions everyone. There we go. Yeah. I just need a little bit more oomph. Yeah, so. Fuck. So, yeah, that works, by the way. Yeah. Anyways, way back on track. This is good for little stuff. Cutting paper, opening packages. It's good for taking to the lake. And, you know, just having it on you in case you do need a little quick knife in the instant, but you don't want to carry around a full-size freaking fixed blade in your gym shorts, you know. This is like something you can slip into your swimming trunks, go rough house around, play out in the water, and if you need it, I put the lanyard on it for when I'm in the water, because if I need it, I will stick this in the waistline of my pants. I got my clip pretty tight, and it doesn't come out. I mean, you can pull it out, but it doesn't come out unless you want it to come out. So what I will do is I'll slip my hand through the lanyard, then I'll pull it out, open it, do my cutting, put it back in my pants, pull my hand out of the lanyard, because it's a, I want to say $70 knife, something like that. It's not cheap. it's tiny. It's $50. It's $58. $58. Sorry, my bad. I know what they all cost. I just draw blanks sometimes. And no, I don't have any sort of materials around. That's just. And my hands were in front of the camera when I said that, so. Yeah, that's my other secret talent. I pretty much know what, at least all the knives I'm interested in cost right now. And all the ones I own. Like, my Recon one I bought for $70. I got a Stock Trident for $70. 70. Actually, the Recon one was like 80. The CRKT M21-14 SFG for $79-ish. That was a long time ago when I bought that. 101, 128, 156, and 58. So, yeah, I have a special talent. In case you were wondering, the Kershaw Launch 5, 109 right now on Blade HQ. Kind of upsetting. It used to be $99. Now it's $109. I don't know why it got an $11 price hike, but I'm pissed off because I really wanted it. But yeah, so this came next. Now, if you want to go in progression of knives obtained, this is not the next one in line. Is the next knife that I've received, which was finally my boat crew knife from the Coast Guard. This was issued to me. It is a Endura 4, to be exact. I freaking love it. I bring it home with me, keep it sharp on that thing, keep it oiled with my little oil thing over there. For a knife to just use and not really be overly concerned with what happens to it, because if it breaks, they will give me another one. Granted, they won't give me another one of these, so I do baby it a lot, but for that, it is an amazing knife. It works. It just works. It does work. It works. We have to have the serrations on all of our knives because we're in the Coast Guard and we work with a lot of lines and ropes, so we got to be able to cut that stuff really quickly, and that's why we have those there. For anyone who's interested, Saiki City, Japan, VG10 steel. The VG10 steel is not my favorite anymore. I used to like it a lot before I used it. I thought it sounded good, but it's not my favorite anymore. But having used it, especially on this folding knife, for a folding knife, it's great steel. Fixed blade, not so much. VG10, can't keep an edge. I don't get it. And in case anyone's gonna say like, well, you probably got a counterfeit. First of all, this is not a counterfeit. Look at this shit. Perfect. Flawless. Second of all, I buy all of my stuff from Blade HQ. Any Spyderco I get from Blade HQ. Blade HQ is amazing. Everything on the table, except for this, because I didn't purchase it. But I know where it came from. It's legit. Everything on the table is real. And it was all purchased at Blade HQ, as far as knives. Which brings me to my last knife, because this video is getting ridiculously long-winded, and I was gonna talk a lot more stuff, and I guess I kind of did in the process, but I want to watch some Blue Bloods, so. Oh yeah. Spyderco Manix 2XL. I have been wanting this knife for a long time. And I got it. Yeah. Finally got it. Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's everything I love about the Manix 2, but bigger. And bigger in this case is undoubtedly better. You can't get your precision down to the tip of the blade unless you're like really, oh sorry guys, unless you're like really up there, but you can do some pretty hefty scraping, and I don't know, there's really not much to say. It's just amazing. It's everything you love about it, but bigger. That's all there is to say. Same everything, same action. Actually, I find the action on this one a little better because I almost cut my finger. Like this, like brushed it like that, like went over top of it like that as it closed. My finger's life flashed before its eyes. It was rather boring. But yeah, it's just bigger. And on that note, this one is almost brand new. I've had it for like a week or two, I think. 2 weeks, I think. And I haven't sharpened it yet. So, and I haven't used it yet either, so. That is out of the box edge. The only thing that I haven't done is exactly what it's doing right now. I cut the shit out of paper with this because of this. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I have a problem. This is probably my favorite thing to do with a knife. It's just shave paper. Because it's fun. But yeah, so if you guys want to know, Spyderco can make a knife sharp as this is. Spyderco at its finest. This is probably the sharpest I've ever gotten one out of the box. And it is sharp. For example. Oh yeah, it's disgusting. I don't know if there's still. No, there's not. There was hair on the blade. But yeah. Quick look. They skeletonized this one. Not happy about that, but I suppose it keeps the weight down. I don't really care too much about weight. I'd rather have the strength, but honestly, in all fairness, the lock on this is gonna fail before the frame does, so whoop-de-doo if I lose a little bit of strength. So that's why I like Spyderco. So I will go into one of the points I said I was going to go into in the video, and that is which one of these knives do I recommend and why do I recommend buying it? If you could only buy one knife on this table, which one would it be? Ring ding ding right here. Simple as that. This one. Why? You can get the black one too. If you like black blades and you're not afraid to use them, get the black one. The black one isn't quite as quick as this one. This one's definitely quicker because it doesn't have that coating gumming up the action down there in those washers. So this one is definitely quicker. And if you just want a good EDC knife that you can potentially use as a backup knife, this is your deal. It's legal in more places than this one. To carry anyways. It's not legal everywhere, but it's legal in more places, significantly more places. 3.5 or 5.5, 4.5, I don't know. It's about 3.5 inches. Lanyard hole, cuts everything, stabs everything, sharpens decently easily if you have a sharp maker. Lock is strong and fun, very strong, stronger than the paramilitary's lock. As fun as the paramilitary is, stronger than that, and you can use it for a lot more. It's my recommendation. If you like going out in the woods, good knife as a backup knife. It's not a bushcrafting knife. Don't baton with it. I mean, you can. It's been done. Doesn't mean it's not stupid and a waste of a $150 knife. Like, there's no fucking reason you should be batoning with this knife. And if you do, there's this neat trick you can do. Where you break Titus. Sorry, my other dog. Or if you break the lock and you put it through the wood this way, you can whack the tip and then whack the spine and just like bounce back and forth. And that way, you're not putting any effort on the lock. You're not pushing down on the lock. What are you doing? That's my water. It's my water, dickhead. This is my my puppy Titus. Titus, no. Titus. Say hi, Titus. Hi, Titus. No, my string. Good boy. Isn't he cute? Yeah, it's probably gonna be the only reason this video gets looked at by anybody. I'll probably put him on the thumbnail. I'm just kidding. Yeah, stop it. No. Anyways. No, that's my water bottle. Dickhead. So that's the one I would recommend. And if you do want a more outdoorsy knife, this one. But if you look at a purpose-driven knife, yeah. If you want an everything knife, this is your knife. If you want a tactical knife, this one's your knife. If you want a fixed blade, I would go with this one. And this is just out of my collection of Spydercos. Not all Spydercos. There are some Spydercos I want that I would recommend. If you want a really cheap knife, get this one. If you don't care about materials or country of origin or that it's a liner lock or anything like that, get this knife. If you want a waterproof knife that's great to work with, get this knife. Easy to sharpen, so easy. Throw a lanyard on there, that's my recommendation. Comes in the cutest little box. If you want a good work knife that's not as expensive as this knife, but does the job decently well, still sharpens easily, has nice serrations, saber grind? No. Fuck me, right? Yeah, that kind of grind. Hollow grind. Holy shit. A hollow grind. This is going to be your knife. It's got a back lock. You like a more traditional knife. You got a back lock back here. For everyone who says you can't close a back lock one-handed, I beg to differ. It's not difficult. If this is difficult, you probably need to grow a few inches in a certain area. All you do is snake down, grab it like this, super easy, and push down with your this finger. Give it a little flick. No, Titus. It's virtually the same process as this. It's just a little lower. Okay, and you can do the same thing with this little guy. Just press down, side closed. Okay. So there's my recommendations. There's reasons why I would buy those ones, not buy those ones, yada yada yada. Again, active duty Coast Guardsmen, support your troops, support your police officers, support your firemen, support your local town officials. You know, your county clerk. You know, actually participate in those elections. Those are important. Those decide shit. You know, I do. I always have. support people who deserve it. That's all I'm going to say about that. I have opinions, I have beliefs. I can't really share all of them because of that thing back there that says I'm not allowed to talk about everything I believe in. Other than like, no, I'm not going to touch anything. I'm going to leave that. No beliefs, nothing. Different video. Yes. But, oh, and a sharp maker. If you want a sharp knife for cheap, get a sharp maker. That thing's $98, I believe. Last time I checked, it was $98. It is the best $98 a knife lover will ever spend because it is the easiest and fastest way to get a very sharp knife. Titus, no. Titus, oh, you such a cute little fuck. Yes, you are. He's gonna be a badass dog one day. Yes, you is. Yeah. He's a good boy. No. No. No, you son of a bitch. Oh. Alright, guys. Anyways, I want to leave you guys with a question for the next video, if I get a chance. Because I can pretty much do this next video, like, in the car if I wanted to. Could do it anywhere. How do you guys feel about, if you made it to the last 56 minutes of the video, would you guys like to hear a knife theory video? Me talking about knife theory, like lock types, blade steels, handle materials, blade construction, fixed blades versus folders, their applications, their use, my perspective as a military member on the use of knives in both. Now, I would say in combat, but I'm in the Coast Guard. We don't know shit about combat. It's my favorite joke. Is that, hey, so I'm in the Coast Guard. You guys want to hear a war story? Yeah, me too. Stuff like that. Blade steel, the lock type, beauty versus functionality, design versus art, ingenuity versus classics, cheap versus expensive. Like I said, this is a big one, a big debate I have with a lot of people. Folders versus fixed blades. Where do they have their purposes? Where do they fall? You know. I have a friend that tells me that folding knives are tools exclusively, and they can't be used as weapons, or they shouldn't be used as weapons, or they shouldn't be classified as weapons. You know, your guys' thoughts. Leave me some comments. Leave me some questions. Your thoughts on steels, stuff like that. Stuff I can read, have something to work with, have something to talk to. You guys got questions? I know a lot of knives, a lot of different knives. I don't... Titus! Whatever you're doing, stop. I'm so sorry about the dogs, guys. If you guys have any questions, knife recommendations, I'm not exclusively a Spyderco fanboy. To prove that, I'll just flash this guy. This guy. I literally have a SOG up there on the table. I could run, go grab it. There's the table. But I'm not going to. I don't really feel like it. I have a shitload of knives. Gosh damn it. A legitimate shitload. So, I can recommend or not recommend most of the knives I own. I can tell you about them. And I have done ample amounts of research, and I have plenty of experience. I could give you a fair shake on any knife that I don't own but have researched to give you perspective on why you should and shouldn't buy it, what I think of it, stuff like that. So if you have any questions at all, just leave them in the comments. I will either send you a comment back or try to address it in my next video, because I don't get a whole lot of time for this. I have a very unique day where my wife is at work and I'm not, and that never happens. I don't like to do videos when anyone else is in the house. But since this never happens, I took the time to do this. This is why it's freaking hour long. And dear God, just God bless you if you made it through the whole thing, because you have way too much time on your hands and nothing else to do. And that's fine, because it gives me something to do today. Anyways, thank you for watching if you made it this far. If you have any of those questions, suggestions, anything like that, anything you want to see, just tell me, let me know, ask me, whatever you want. I don't really care. I'm kind of having fun. I'm kind of passing the time, you know. Whatever you want, you know. Fuck it, I don't care. You want to talk about coffee cups, something like that. Coffee brands, coffee making techniques. I like coffee. You want to talk about beverages. I like beer. I like whiskey. Titus, no. TV shows, food, whatever you want. I'll talk about anything. Titus, no. Dogs, dog training. I'll talk about that. It's not going well. I'm kidding. It's going fine. He's in a class. There's both of my little idiots. Yeah. My wife and I are so proud. Anyways. Oh, jeez, dear God. Thank you for watching. I'm Young Tactical, and I am out. Oh, by the way, want to see my rig? Yeah. That is a kitchen bowl, and it is a car monitor, and this goes in here. So, yeah. Just so you know, I'm going to be very transparent with you guys. I'll guarantee you there's a lot of assholes out there doing the exact same thing, but they're on there thinking, so I got this new special rig today, and it's really fancy, and I'm going to film my videos with it, and, yeah, that's why my videos are better, is because I have all this special equipment. Yeah, this is $10 at Walmart. I was going to use it in my car, but it literally sucks for that, so that's why it's here. Anyways, later guys. Keep supporting, keep fighting, keep training, keep collecting.